Good morning, recruiting junkies. I hope you're well. End of another week. Whoop whoop. Whoop, whoop.
Yay! Brilliant.
And it's been up and down. We're joined by Claire Davis, our resident mental health and wellbeing coach.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning, Claire. So, how has your week been, Claire?
My week's actually been really positive. I think it's been helpful that we had a fantastic Easter weekend with 4 days of not just focusing on work, focusing on family time and the sunshine. The sunshine has really helped, hasn't it?
Yes. It definitely helps if you've got young children and they can at least go outside a little bit. So my week's been I'm feeling pretty good on Friday, but for me, I feel like I've been through I'm coming out of the dip in the last week or so. Like last week, I wasn't feeling great.
Yeah.
The week, first few days this week, I was really fighting it.
And what we all need to realize there, Alex, is that we are all going to have dips. Don't expect that every day we're going to feel positive. Our mental health, we need to work on our mental health. It doesn't just come naturally to us. So remember, be kind to yourselves. And we all need to remember that we will all have our dips. And what can we do? What are the triggers? What's going on so that we realize when we're having the dips and what we can we do to come out of those dips? I think that's essential.
Yeah. And it's, I think it's just, and what's helped this week is I've had some good conversations with Angela. You know, she's sort of been a good COVID buddy. I've had a couple of conversations with clients where they've been asking, how's it going? And rather than, it's amazing, which is sort of what you'd expect on a BD call. I've not gone, you know what? I'm struggling. And it's been interesting to see how sort of the clients that I'm speaking to are the ones that I know quite well, that actually they've got an interest in your well-being. So where you... they were like, oh, come on, Alex, what are you doing? This is what I'm doing. And we're sharing with clients, sharing strategies on how we're like keeping sane.
Which is brilliant. So what we should be using this as is a relationship builder. If we can build relationships in this time with clients and talk to them as human beings. We're all going through something quite traumatic here. So let's talk to them as human beings. Don't think of it as they're the client, I'm the service provider, so I need to be very, very professional. Let's get down to basics with them and get a bit personal, really.
Yeah, and part of it is about that. It's trying to be human. I think often, as recruiters, we expect to be the best that we can be, and we're always super positive. And there's a place for that. Where actually, I think relationships are really built off the back of humanity in today's situation rather than necessarily smashing it from a sort of like positivity perspective.
And that goes with the good old-fashioned saying, which is people buy from people. So I think people's true colors are coming out during everything what's happening, and we're seeing the real people, and we're seeing people. I've seen some of the clients that I've been working with have become into that real panic, frozen mode, don't know what to do, and we're not seeing the most positive side of them. So what we should be aiming at is seeing the positive side of humanity, the positive side of looking after people. We should be looking after each other at this stage.
Yeah, and I think also that I think people have been frozen for a few weeks. Everyone's realizing this is really normal. If we are going to survive, we have to work out a way. And that's such a challenge for many people. So one of the things we were talking about in the prep for this is it how are you calls? Is that what you call them, Claire?
Yeah, I've been doing how are you calls since I started in recruitment, and basically it's just ringing someone up and not saying, do you have any business? It's all about business, what's going on, that sort of thing. It's hi, how are you going? What's going on? How are you feeling? We're meant to be out of lockdown in 3 weeks. So how are you feeling about that? Are we going to get back to normality? What does this actually mean? If we're partially
how's that going to impact your business? How's it going to impact
your business? So what I found with How Are You calls over the years, so much business has come out of them.
Really?
So my mindset is always just to ring and say, how are you going? And then we get onto the questioning and the discussing and what's going on. And probably I would say at least 50% of my calls, I've got business out of it on that call. Then the rest I've got business on it later, on later calls.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that it's, those how are you calls are really good for current clients.
Yeah.
And those
Brilliant.
how are you calls are really good for your candidates that you know are active.
Yep.
Especially if you've got candidates that are currently contracting. So they're still working, right?
Yeah.
But they're working from home. They may not be included in group emails. They may not be included in the comms that's going out for the organization as a whole. And so actually you are their boss. You are their colleague in some ways. And those how are you calls, in the old days, we used to call them book calls. You know, it's calling all your book of business. Yeah, you know, it's calling all your candidates. Or used to call it QC calls, which was like quality calls, like calling the candidates every week. How are you getting on? How are things going? How's your boss being to you? What could we do? How can we help? And I think it's really important for contractor recruiters to know we've got to earn our money every week. In what we do.
And interesting, you calling them book calls or contract calls or whatever term you use. To me, that sounds quite professional and very recruitment, and it's all about the business. So our mindset changes when we call them how are you calls. We get a bit more relaxed and our brain goes into relaxed mode. Whereas if we're thinking, oh, they're book calls, they're quality calls, whatever we want to call them, we tend to think more about the business. So in this time, we should be thinking about the person, building that relationship, because our true colors are going to come out here. And this is all about showing people that we care. We should be caring at this stage.
And a lot of recruiters always talk about being the recruiter of choice.
Yeah.
In our market, we want to be the recruiter that people want to work with. And I guess it's part of proving that. This is where we've got the opportunity to prove it. You know, and proving it is it's a bit like in a relationship, Claire, is that often the true measure of a relationship comes in tough times, not in good times. It's easy to be nice when everything's great.
Yeah. And believe me, we've had some interesting discussions while having lockdown with my 4 kids and my husband at times, because it is tough times at times. We're all getting a bit sick of each other, really. No, we're not. We actually have had some great times.
The thing is, you've got 4, you'll have great times, but you've got basically 6 adults in a house, haven't you?
Yeah, we do. And there's different personalities, different emotions, different frustrations. So let's go back to the how are you calls. Something that I used to do with my team as a manager was sit down and have one-to-ones with my team and say, who are we going to call this week for a how are you call? So to help my team, and we've got to think of our team. It's back to having the 4 kids and my husband. We're all going through different emotions. So let's think about the emotions of our team and how comfortable would they be with doing the how are you calls, and who should they be ringing? Let's do a bit of a catch up with our team and plan next week's how are you calls.
And Mark's just posted a comment saying that when he is speaking to people, they're much more open to talk than ever. Like they're at home, they're not being pulled away by office tasks.
Definitely.
You're not alone, Mark. I think lots of people are feeling that actually the phone is. People are actually welcoming the phone.
And we need to be really careful, Alex, on that, because a lot of recruitment consultants, and I'm one of these, I'm a real fast-paced person. So I decide that I'm going to do 10 how are you calls in a day, and they're going to be bang, 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 bang. So let's go to Mark's comment that we need to give people time. Some people will need to talk, will want to talk. So let's slow our how are you calls down. Let's think about, instead of trying to do 10 in the morning, let's try to do 5 really good quality ones. And as managers, we need to plan that with our recruitment consultants, because so many recruitment consultants are that fast paced. Let's get things out quickly. One thing that COVID-19 has taught us all is to slow down, and we need to do that.
And that's and I'm very route one. I have a short attention span, so I'm sort of like, hi, how are you? You're great. I'm great too, or I'm struggling, you're struggling, great, chat. Bye. Like my brain's moved on. So that's a good reminder for me, Claire, as well. So
the word I use there for everyone is be present in each call with that individual. Give yourself time and be present. Think about that individual instead of trying to think about 5 other things or be tapping away on your computer while you're having this how are you call.
I would never do that, Claire.
No, I couldn't imagine it, Alex, because I've never done it either. No recruitment consultant I know has ever done it.
I remember I used to have a keyboard that was very tappy.
Yeah.
And a couple of times people went, "Are you typing?" And I was like, "Oh, no, that's just my colleague next to me." And the next thing I put the phone down, I was like, "Can I get a quiet keyboard?"
Yeah,
like my mind was sorting out how I could continue to do 2 things rather than see that as a need to be present in the moment.
Definitely. And Russell's just used the word bit of mindfulness. This is the big word that we've been using for the last 5-10 years, mindfulness. So let's get into mindfulness with our how are you calls as well. Brilliant.
Yeah. No, so which is fantastic. And Claire, how are you calls? I know a lot of recruiters are still looking to do some new business development. They're looking to reach out to new people. So how might you work a how are you call to someone you've never met? Because it's more challenging. Someone rang me that I didn't know going, "Hi, how are you?" You'd be like,
yeah, it's a really good point, actually. So I'll do my research on that person, research the industry that they're in. Will they be having a tough time? Have a look on their LinkedIn. See if they've posted anything. You might relate to a LinkedIn message. You might be able to, with someone you've never met, get an introduction from someone else.
Okay.
So really think about what can I do? How can I help you? So it might actually be good. Okay, you're somebody that I see maybe having a difficult time at the moment. I was just wondering, how can I help you? So it's a little bit different to a how are you? I know you really well call. It's how can I help you? I'm here to really help.
Yeah. And I think also part of that is also say, I think it's rather than how are you personally, how is your business?
Yeah.
So hi, how you doing? It's Alex from the recruiting gym. We work with this company and this company locally. And I'm just basically ringing around to see how everything's going. Like who's doing well, who isn't. And then they might go, "Well, we're not recruiting." Say, "I'm not talking about recruitment. I'm just wondering how everyone's getting on because we're on fire." Or you could say, "We're doing okay, but what I'm doing is just sharing good news and sharing success, and sort of see yourself as a knowledge conduit."
And helping you. It might be a situation that they're in the same industry as another one of your clients, and the other client is using a completely different strategy. So, I've talked to another client in a similar situation, and what they're doing is this. Would that help? Of course. Confidentiality is important here.
Yeah, so you never name the company, and you probably wouldn't, if it was a competitor, you wouldn't say, "Oh, your competitor down the road," because they'd know who that was. So
definitely, you can just say somebody's in a similar situation to you.
I often talk about, well, I've known other agencies that are doing this and other agencies that are doing that, but I'm always mindful of those that I know compete in very close proximity.
Definitely. And, there's loads of little techniques that different people are using that can help people even in different industries. So it could be somebody in a different industry, but you could say in a similar situation to you. It doesn't have to be exactly the same industry.
And the last thing, Claire, is just obviously yesterday we were talking about personas and building your online presence. So this is something even furloughed people can do. And so don't be afraid of posting on social media, sort of just how you're feeling. Or what's gone well for you this week. I think putting a little bit of yourself out there into the world is a good thing. And so just solicit feedback from the networks that you're in to sort of say, right, well, this week's been a bit of a roller coaster, or it's been up and down this week. This has been my high, this has been my low. What's everyone else's what's everyone else found?
All of this, that reminds me, all of this is building our personal brand. And we can do that via social media. And what we need to remember when we're building our personal brand is that we need to actually be consistent on all platforms. So if we're building our personal brand on social media, we shouldn't be ringing our clients or our potential clients and having completely different personality. We need to make sure if we're empathizing with clients on the phone, we should also be empathizing with people on social media. If we're telling our clients on the phone, we've had a bit of a bad week, we can be mentioning that on social media. So everything's about consistency with building.
Yeah. And I think that's a good point. I think ultimately, I think it's what I've always think especially when people are newer in the industry, it's finding your work self and trying to make that as close to your real self as possible.
Yeah.
I think when you become old and grumpy like myself, I sort of just think I don't really. I'm on that journey. I'm not quite where my mother is yet. But that's sort of like I am who I am. Like I don't do my hair. I'm in a t-shirt this morning. Yeah. Because I sort of can't be asked.
But I'm
remembering. You either like me or you don't.
But Alex, you're getting to the stage where I'm remembering my early days in recruitment, and I'm remembering when I was in my 20s, young, and everything had to be so professional, and you couldn't bring forward your own personal self. And maybe that was the 90s being the 90s, we're a lot more professional. However, now we're promoting the personal brand, bringing our personality forward because people buy from people, as I said earlier. Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
Fantastic. So, and just so you know, Claire, I only did exercise this time last week. I committed to doing exercise on every day of the bank holiday weekend. I only did proper exercise twice. But I was doing DIY all the rest of the day.
Well done. I've done
2 runs this week.
Good.
So
excellent.
I just wanted to.
I think we've got to talk about some challenges next week because they build resilience and they also build our willpower and our long-term endurance. So let's talk about challenges next week. What 21-day challenges? Have you set yourself a 21-day challenge yet, Alex?
No, I haven't. Other than survival. and my recent 21-day challenge has been surviving the builders who had their last day today. What I will do is put a call out. If anyone has a client that has 15 bags of skimming plaster, please let me know. Because they've stopped making it. My building cannot finish until I get plaster. So if anyone has any plaster or has a client that has plaster, please, I'll drive anywhere to get it. So
put it on some of those mums' Facebook pages.
Exactly.
I'm sure someone has some somewhere.
Exactly. So Claire, you have a fantastic weekend. And
you too.
We'll speak to you soon.
Yeah, everyone take care. Remember mental health over the weekend. Relax as well. See you all next week. Have a great weekend.
See you later, everybody.
Bye. Bye.